So the party executive said they will address the press, and so she denied to talk to us. But this is the scene. So currently the MPP parliamentary candidate Ghpage is actually heading to the next polling station. That's the Methodist Church. And I'm sure she's also going to engage electorate there. And she's very confident that she's going to annex this very seat, because this, of course, is a stronghold of the MPP. Since 1996 till 2024, the MPP has really won this very seat. And so it's safe to say that as a stronghold of the party. But as at 7:55, just 11 people had voted, electorate have voted. But what I'm told is that this very area, there's sort of an apathy when it comes to voting. But when it gets to around 3 o'clock, that's when most of the electorate come out to vote in their numbers. So it's just a usual thing here. People don't really come early to come and vote, but they do that later after 3 o'clock. But the election will actually close at 5 p.m. So there's some sort of more time for these electorates or these lukewarm electorate to come out to vote in their numbers. And of course, this is a competitive one, and this, according to the NDC, will determine that the electorate here in this very constituency really voted for their candidate. That's Rabina Albin. But the MPP is also confident that they're going to win, because they've been doing this for a very long time. The constituents are also divided in terms of development. The party has not been able to do a lot here. So why would they still vote for them if they are not really giving out their best? So this is what it is. It's a critical election, and we can't wait to really get the result of the aftermath of this very election. And if you just tune in, we're coming to you live from the Ablekuma North constituency, precisely the Church of Pentecost. We're moving from one polling station to the other. That is the Methodist Church, where the former MP for which, that's how Akumsi was assaulted, and the Ministers of Defense and Interior were there to actually come to the rescue. What really happened there, to the rescue of that matter. But it was my also police station where the journalist was assaulted, the EIB journalist was assaulted. We are told that the police officer, who is Officer Lumo, has been interdicted. He will be investigated accordingly. But what's the name? The journalist in person has actually gone to the hospital for treatment, and he had an issue with his left eye. And when he was leaving, he complained that his left eye was shaken as a result of the slap by the police officer. So we will also follow up on that very development and get to know what exactly happens with his eye afterwards. So this is live visuals from Ablekuma North, and is the rerun of the Ablekuma North Parliamentary constituency. And we bring it to you live, like we always give you detail with our reportage. Extensive reportage. You cannot get it anywhere but here on TV3. My name is George Craning, and I'm bringing this visuals live. And earlier I wanted to, talk to the parliamentary candidate for the MPP. Ghpage, she declined because the party says they would actually have a position on this. They'll come maybe after the elections. They would actually address the media what the issue was. But initially, the party confirmed that they're not going to take part in this. But as you can see, they are here in their numbers to give some sort of support. Yesterday, we were told that the MPP flag bearer for the 2024 elections gave some 410,000 cedis in support of her bid. And also, somebody came from the former Minister of Education, Dr. Educhum, 200,000 cedis. And so that is also to support Ghpage's bid. And hopefully, they will all would go a long way to maybe either annex a seat for the party or otherwise. So we are moving from one polling station to the other. If my cameraman can pan and give you visuals of where how Akumsin was assaulted. So that is the Methodist polling station. We want to also see what is actually also going on after that very incident. The defense ministers and that of the interior minister were here to the rescue. And so aftermath, what really has transpired after this. So we just want to give you a fair idea about the situation here. I'm sure you're watching, you're wondering how the place looks like. Is it very calm now after the issue? We'll just give you all that. And I know there are some executives that we can actually speak to. I think, let's see if we can even talk to Brian Champ, who was also showing indication I want to contest for the flag bearership race of the party. And good afternoon. I want to pick a word from you. Rerun. Okay, so Christian Juman has declined. He was the former CEO of the GTA, and already would also know that the party wants to talk about this after the elections, which will be 5 p.m. And as at 7:55 a.m., the polling station where I am, that's the Church of Pentecost, just 11 people out of 67 had cast their vote. And it can tell you that this is a station where there's some sort of lukewarm when it comes to voting. But when it's after 3 o'clock, that's when I'm told that people come out in their numbers to vote. And so all those eligible voters in this area are likely to vote after 3 p.m., according to one of the election EC officers, confirming that very status of this very area. And so we actually here at the Methodist Church. And so there are people here in their numbers. I'm sure the scene actually caused a lot of human traffic here. People really want to come and see with their own eyes what really transpired here. And so you can see numbers are here. And also some also in anticipation to see the parliamentary candidates for the MPP. And that's a queer free. I wish you could actually tell us something here, regardless of what the party position is, to really address the media. That's after the elections. And you can see in your visuals, that's Brian, a champion, former Minister of Food and Agriculture, and also given his intention of contesting the flag bearer wish of the MPP. And yeah, so we are here. We are here at the polling station, Methodist Church. We'll surely get some words from her. So the party supporters or party executives have actually is supporting their candidate and giving some sort of assurance that, yeah, we've got this. But would that translate into the vote? That will be after 5 o'clock, where, you know, we'll get to know the aftermath of this very election, which is keenly contested by the MPP and the NDC. But for the NDC, they say it's going to confirm that they really won, despite the chaos and everything that, you know, ensure that these constituents of Ablekuma North were actually denied fair representation in Parliament. For more than months, they were denied representation in Parliament. So, of course, this will actually settle the dust, calm the storm, and gives us some hope to constituents in terms of development and legislatively, the expectations in Parliament. We're coming to you live from Ablekuma North, precisely the Methodist Church of Ghana, one of the 19 polling stations, which is having the rerun of the elections. And so, yeah, the parliamentary candidate is trying to get into the station. But obviously, you can see that it's actually turning into some sort of chaos. And the police is not allowing everyone inside. But, of course, some insist that they were with the parliamentary candidate, so they have to be allowed entry. But that is actually triggering some sort of chaos. But hopefully, the police, you know, handles this one effectively without any attack or maybe abuse, because clearly we've actually witnessed one too many of this incident in this very rerun. So hopefully they handle this in an orderly manner. This, of course, is a test of time and a test of efficiency by the Ghana Police Service. But obviously, emotions are high. Supporters, you know, have high stakes in this very election. So they'll do everything possible to ensure that, yeah, it goes in their favor. But these are live visuals from the Methodist Church of Ghana. We'll bring you updates, but I wish we can actually speak to some of the party executives here, and hopefully we get the parliamentary candidates speak to us, share one or two things with that. And Samuel Oku is also here, and you can see the big weights of the party are here to show support, solidarity. Even the former GTA boss Ghpage is here, and I see Miracles here, who was a former spokesperson of the campaign of the MPP, also here.
And so my colleague George Quainin and a host of other leading members of the NPP. I see Miracles Abuaje. I've seen a Betifi member of Parliament, Brian Champong. All of them, I've seen Haruna. All of them have come to this Methodist church area, which has been embroiled in as much controversy as possible in the last 2 to 3 hours. And we're continuing to try and get an understanding as to their assessment of the situation, and as well what it is that's played out. No, I came from there. And so it's Nana Ghpage along with other leading members of the NPP who have all joined hands and have come around seeking to get an understanding as to exactly what it is that's happening. And George Quainin continues to be here and will amongst many other things get some details for you shortly on what is expected. But this is the situation. Leading figures from the NPP now present and hoping to, amongst many things, address the media just shortly, and we're hoping we can bring that to you just briefly as well. And so shortly there will be that all-important address for you just now. Help me. As the pushing and shoving continues, trying to create space for that all-important address. It will come shortly, and you can understand why there'll be a lot of pushing and shoving, because space is being created so that there can be room from which the anticipated address can come forward, and then we can get an understanding as to what the strategy is for the party going forward.
Microphones, you bring me the microphones. Boss, cameras now. Just everybody can. Let's go. You're not giving us. You let us stand. Scream.
Don't worry. We have all witnessed what has gone on at this particular polling station. Methodist polling station on Dopo. This is where early in the morning the NDC hoodlums came in, attacked our agents, attempted to destroy the election materials, went after our party agents, beat her up mercilessly, attacked Honorable Hao Kumsin, who was standing far away with Honorable Dakwa Niman, and stood her grounds. They numbered about 30 of them. The police could not stop them. I was there myself. I'm sure a lot of you have seen me on the City TV interview. They came in with guns and machete, and the police simply had no weapons, so they had to run for their lives. So far, we have been here, and it is quite clear that the elections has resumed. We are calling on every single person at home to come out and come and vote. At this point, it's been restored, and there's calm here. And so the candidates will now speak. But before the candidate speaks, please, it's very important that the Inspector General of Police gets to know what the NDC have been doing since morning, and know that we cannot afford not to complete and conclude the coalition today too. Because from the way things are going, just as we have done here at the Methodist polling station, we are going to protect every single ballot and make sure that the same way we restored calm here, that will become at every polling station for the coalition. If they fail to protect us, we will protect ourselves just as we have done here.
Yes. Yo, me da say, say obia hunia esi wa Ablekuma North. And then I have visited 16 polling stations, and all the 16 polling stations, with the exception of Odoko 4 and 5, everywhere is chaotic. Bebia ubekono, the hoodlums, thugs, macho men, all over, almost about 200, every polling station. And now, almost say, voter, woman be babe to ama me never conform. If it's obia him say, obia obe pie biano, obe to aba me ku every year. These polling stations. Any a second, any a giant adeno, yabe prano, into a man crofo she fie. But me person make two, me catch them and crop for say, Mumpie, Obiamra number 2, Obie niwa, a bimbo, Abba, a bimbo or ho. Police for no Mesramo, IGP, so I won the Akoso. Yeah, 3 polling stations. What's the one to me provide this security? After 19, they also be provided. Yes, macho men are here with security. Ewa Ablekuma North. Bro, wamo bro me call. Light of Gospel Miracle Church. Ewa Otaten. Bro, wamo abuye agents. Wamo abuye nkro for Bakuda hospitals is here. Why do you have to do this? And this is here no. Yeah, bekaya bano. Wamo mijira and obi peja ballot box. Why?
As we speak, as we speak, it is important for us to know that there are people's lives that are at stake. From here, we are going to visit Honorable Kumsin, who is currently fighting for her life. Why should any citizen battle for her survival because of elections? There are 6 people who were injured. Right there, I was there, right before me, and they are in the hospitals. For now, we have remained resolute. We have been able to stand our grounds, and these hoodlums have run away, and everybody should come and vote. We are asking the Inspector General of Police to ensure that he sees what has happened as a precursor and put in place the necessary measures for the coalition. The guys are moving with weapons, and so if they are going to allow their men to be sacrificed, their policemen to be sacrificed, like goats and fowls, then we are in trouble. They should beef up and make sure that the coalition becomes peaceful and safe. Thank you.
And so no further questions. No further questions, but a lot more of the NPP's reaction is what we've just got. They say they remain resolute as they continue to proceed to other polling stations, seeking to, out of the many things, get support for a number of their agents who they say are hospitalized as a result of attacks by alleged individuals suspected to be affiliated to the NDC. And so this has been a very fluid situation in the last few minutes. Minutes will turn into hours, most definitely, but it continues to be one that we monitor very closely here and provide details of. And so they are moving on to the next polling station, which I suspect will be the Pentecost Church area. And I mean, they're moving with a large team. It's very difficult as a media person to get clean access and be able to solicit information, because a number of big shots, MPs, the candidate herself, party executives and the likes, and they are moving with such large numbers and heavily built men as well, providing all of the security you can find, and so it makes it a bit more difficult. a bit more difficult to get an understanding as to really what it is that's playing out. But that's what we have for you at this point as they move on to the next polling station. And my colleague George Quainin will be back again to provide a bit more details for you. But back to you in the studio as we continue our coverage here on your election command center, as we continue to monitor happenings and then developments as they play out.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Mawina Egbeta, there with George Quainin, comprehensive report there. And I'm sure you were monitoring all the speeches, as it were, from the bigwigs of the opposition MPP, from the candidate herself, Ekuefriye, making some allegations of people who have been beaten and hospitalized. You heard Dennis Miracles Abuaje claiming that Hawa Kumsin, the former member of parliament for Wutu Senya East, is fighting for her life in the hospital. And in the background there, you saw Brani Champon, who is aspiring to be a presidential candidate for the NPP come 2028, and also Samia Wuku as well. And of course, the director of elections for the opposition MPP, Evans Nimakon. And like you just watched Mawina Egbeta tell us, the situation is quite fluid. And so we have promised you that we're going to be bringing you updates from these 19 polling stations currently witnessing that rerun of the election in Ablekuma North constituency. I'm coming back to you, Helen, and your panel, because I presume that you have a lot to talk about with what we've just watched and heard.
Thank you so much for that. And we are certainly on the beat. We have our eyes and ears firmly on the ground in Ablekuma North. But let me introduce a new player into the ring. Austin Kwabena Bracco Powers is a private legal practitioner, and he joins the table of men. Austin, hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ellen.
How are we doing?
Table of married men, or because usually when they say table of men, you know that is what they are inadvertently trying to communicate.
I see.
But yes. That's
You're very welcome onto the program, and I know that you have been keenly observing what has been transpiring, or what has transpired so far in the Ablekuma North constituency. Let me also take your initial bites then on what you have seen so far, especially as far as security is concerned. It's a major issue. Since the polls opened this morning, it has been one disturbance after the other.
I think, Ellen, as your colleague Beatrice well captured it, the situation is fluid, and it's there's tension out there. And I think this is expected, because if anyone out there believes or did not even imagine that something like this will happen, then the person really did not study the terrain. This was expected to have happened, and I'm glad it is playing out. All that.
When you say you are glad it is playing out, what exactly do you mean?
No, because we are now seeing the major issues and why the police will have to intervene immediately. Imagine what will happen if this had played out later after poll closed. That would be dangerous. You know, the panelists so far have been pushing out a major call. The police must intensify security in these 19 polling stations. This is a major clarion call that we are putting out to the security agencies. And this is because looking at the terrain and what is going on, the allegations flying left, right, center, it calls for intervention, it calls for alertness. The security, the IGP must make sure that his men are on the ground and they are not interfering with the process, because that is important. Because you see, the work of the police is not to interfere with the process, because they are only there to ensure the protection and safety of individuals.
Right.
So I think, like I said, I'm glad this is playing out in the early stage for us to now go back and, you know, rework the line, make sure that we block every loophole that there is in order to avoid a major blowout when the poll closes at 5 o'clock. Major blowout, because you see, this is a do or die affair. And you should know this, the two political parties have a lot at stake.
Right.
The NDC is seeking that seat to strengthen its majority in parliament.
Right.
You get it, earning it the super majority, the title super majority. The MPP is also trying to protect its so-called stronghold, which I know many people have said that it used to be their stronghold, but looking at the trend and the vote so far, it appears it is slipping out of their hands. I have no doubt about that. I think this is a win-win for anybody. But we need to be careful. The police, and also I think it is important, Ellen, that we also caution the political players, particularly the party executive functionaries, and with their utterances. They are not helping matters.
You say it's inflaming the passions.
Yes, because they are not helping matters. You see, the thing is that there's one thing contesting for a seat, and another thing inflaming passions, causing people to go out there and cause commotion, and thereby, don't forget what happened when what happened leading to this current situation, when ballot papers were destroyed, the place where it was stored was set ablaze.
That's right.
I mean, these are some of the things that triggered such incidents. We should not allow that. We should condemn it. And I think the MPP, we saw inserts from your colleagues who are in the field. They are not helping matters. If you want to win, tell the people why you want them to vote or retain or vote for your candidate. But telling them someone had been hurt, someone is holding machete, guns, ammunition, and other things, that's not your responsibility. If you have anything like that, tell the police. But communicating out there, it's like you are causing people to come out. Because you see, there's no need for you to tell Ghanaians that this is what is happening, when you know that the right thing to do is to tell the police administration. They are there, they are in the field, they are with you. If you notice something like that, draw their attention. ABCD is holding ammunition, ABCD is holding machete. Can you address the situation, or can you arrest him? You see, we want them to put up a good behavior, deserving of parties that are indeed requesting the vote of Ghanaians, but not a party that is trying to cause mayhem in Ablekuma North. And like we've all said, we've all been concerned. Ablekuma North having had an MP for some months is troubling. We want the election to be finalized, but we want it to be done in a peaceful manner. And the responsibility rests on every player, the residents, that's the constituents of Ablekuma North. They also bear a major responsibility. Don't let anyone confuse you. Don't let anyone tell you to come out, bring out machete or anything, stones or stick, and harm anybody. Because you see, when you do that, the law will take care of you. But those people, if you notice carefully, in all the things they say, they are always safe because they know what they are standing on. And you, when the law comes for you, they may not protect you. So protect yourself, protect your family. Go out there, vote, and go back to your rooms and wait for the vote count.
To the constituents in Ablekuma North to simply exercise their franchise, go home, and not to, follow anybody that says come out. And I mean, the number of different weapons we're hearing: bow and arrow, pepper spray, cutlass, machete. I mean, so many different elements. Let me come back to Mr. Naziru. I also have to mention that he's the communications director of the NDC's Zongo caucus. Now, the NDC also, in the last few days, we've seen have been in Ablekuma North feverishly campaigning. This is at a time when the NPP had indicated that there was going to be a boycott on their part. They had indicated that they would not be participating in this rerun. For many people, the idea is that this is a shoo-in for the NDC. Why was it important then to really still be in the constituency selling their message?
I mean, it's an election. Anyone who has participated in the election knows it's not over until it's over. For that matter, if you expect the people to come and vote for you, you don't expect them to vote for you in a vacuum. They need to understand the reasons why they must give you their vote. Because what they are giving to you is like surrendering their sovereignty to you for the next 4 years. And they expect that you also handle it very well. That is why I am pleased that the NDC's message, when you go to the ground, is very clear that, look, you are going to vote for Arabna Obeng to become the Member of Parliament, so that she's going to, first of all, join the majority where she would stand the advantage of bringing development to the constituency. She also can benefit from appointment because her party is in government. And if that appointment comes, she can also help the constituency and build the constituency moving forward. So it's a very clear message, unlike voting for the MPP candidate where you will not know where she's going to stand, if she's going to join the 88 or 87 members of parliament to continue the noise without bringing something substantial home. So the good people of Ablekuma North also understand this message and they are pursuing it. We value the vote. We respect the vote of the people. I mean, linking it to our earlier discussions before the break as to the dwindling performance of the NPP as a political party in our, political landscape. I mean, it is becoming very clear. I took a lot of lessons in the 2020 elections, and then it repeated itself in the 2024 elections, where it's become so obvious for me that the NPP as a political party, if care is not taken, will be yanked out of our current political dispensation. Why?
The NPP?
Yes. I mean, I am not just saying this. If you listen to former President Kufuor advise the NPP and make comments to the effect that we should know that our voters are becoming discerning. I mean, you cannot treat the voter, the Ghanaian voter today like they were treated in 1992. And that has been one major block for the MPP's progress. If you listen to, speaker after speaker, even within the MPP, admit that something fundamentally went wrong with the immediate past administration of the MPP. So, given that this is the picture, and then you would see, I listened to former President Kufuor and made mention of how they won the 2016 election, and then the 2020 became very tough. 2024 worse. It means something was wrong. Something was wrong to the extent that, as I speak to you, the NPP as a political party is not represented in 5 regions. No representation at all. I mean, it's a strong message. It tells you that the party is not a national party. They have about 4 regions where they have only single representation. The party is not a national party. They have about 4 regions where they have only single representation. Single representation. Zulu, Natal of, what do you call it, South Africa, to become a very strong political party. And that is what I think the NDC should start looking at and building to achieve such an objective. Start looking at and building to achieve such an objective.
Mohammed, thank you so much for that. And I believe we have a soundbite from Rashid Tanko Computer. He is the Deputy Director of Elections of the NDC. Let's take a quick listen. We'll come back in studio and continue talking.
I mean, we went around most of the polling stations. Turnout is a bit low because of the cosmopolitan nature of the constituency. Some of them are workers, some are outside the constituency. And so we are engaging them to come and vote. So that's why the numbers look a bit low. It will pick up by midday, going to 2 o'clock. The people have interest and they around to vote for the NDC candidate.
Then the challenge so far, we've witnessed the assault of a journalist, another violent incident at the church also. What are you picking from the ground?
Well, journalists are people too much. I mean, their work is not a small job. Happiness alive in the country going on and all that. I mean, so it's an unfortunate situation that this thing happens. I hope the Ghana Police Service will find a way to resolve that issue with the... Yes, about the issue. It's something that, as a political party, we will not accept. They are doing their work. Do their work. Give them the freedom, the support, so that they continue their work. I mean, so that one is, and it's an unfortunate situation.
All right, let's continue the conversation right here in the studio. And Dr. Norman,
yes,
the situation seems to now have escalated, where I mentioned the different weapons that have now been introduced into the conversation, a bow and an arrow. That's after we heard about alleged pepper spray use. I mean, how alarmed are you about how this exercise is progressing?
Well, as it was, lawyer Kobina said, the end of the show is probably going to also review a lot more. And Mohammed just added his voice to that, and my brother Putin has already mentioned that many times on this table. I think we have to be concerned. And as Mr. Rashid Tanko just said, the Ghana police has to be a bit more alert than they have been. And expecting more people to come and vote when there is insecurity or lack of safety there, it's going to be quite difficult. So by now, some public announcement should go out there, mobilizing the community that everything is calm at that particular polling station. So if you haven't voted, please go out and vote for whichever party you wish to vote. Because for me, if I were going to vote and I saw on TV what was happening, I wouldn't go and vote.
You'd stay in your house?
I would stay in my house. I will stay in my house. There was a detachment on the part of the police when the wrangling was going on. And I just don't understand why a policeman would stand somewhere and let his colleague be pushed around. It doesn't. There is no esprit de corps. What I'm seeing there, no esprit de corps being displayed on the screen. There's one walking leisurely as if he's taking a walk in a park. When you are on assignment, as important as this. So, like Kobina said, it's good that we are seeing this happen now. Because during the bigger election, if we don't organize ourselves well, the future of Ghana is really, really...
We could see even more types of weaponry in there. Mr. Kuti, let me come to you on this one. The NPP had initially said we're going to boycott this rerun. Then, about some 24 hours later, we hear from the parliamentary candidate, Nana Ekuya-Owusu-Afriyie, saying that, you know, she's actually going to be a part of the process. Subsequent to that, you see a bit of a scramble there. A lot of big players now storming Ablekuma North constituency. Can we also put some of the blame on this late decision by the NPP, it seems, to rally around their candidates? Had they maybe started their wooing of the constituents on Monday, there would have been some opportunity for, I mean, every day another individual to go and visit the constituency. Now, they left it to the last hour, and you're seeing many of their big players going into the constituency. We know the kind of crowd that's going to attract. Weighing on that for me, I'm just thinking about that, seeing all their big players here now. Would you say that they lost that opportunity to send their message to the people of Ablekuma North, and now there's this mad rush and a lot of confusion ensuing?
In fact, Helen, if NPP loses this seat, the blame should be put squarely on the General Secretary of the party.
On this singular individual?
Exactly. You see, the process he triggered when they decide to go to court. When you are going to court, you may get the favor of the court or you may not get the favor of the court. So as a politician, you should have a plan B. So if you were convinced that the court was going to injunct the process, so you tell your people that we are not going to run, and the truth of the matter is that NPP followers believe what the General Secretary had said. So all of this process, if the parliamentary candidate had also listened. And in all of this, she is the loser here. She has invested more into this. And don't forget about the money she has pumped in. The psychological stress she has gone over the last 7 months alone is not easy. And in all of this, we were expecting
QuickBooks Superpower to automate my invoices, track expenses, and get
when obviously it has become clear that they were not going to obey the decision of the General Secretary, and as such, it would have even damaged their reputation. I was thinking that it will be the rallying call of the MPP for people to show the unity we have been preaching for. Just imagine that if Dr. Bawumia, Kennedy Agyapong, Bra Achampong, and other presidential hopefuls had come together with a common voice to Ablekuma North to make an appeal. That is their stronghold. That look, we knew we had won these elections, but because of A, B, and C, there's a rerun. Initially, we were convinced that the court will give us a favorable response, but we didn't get that. But as mature politicians, and in the interest of the country and our democracy, we are participating in this election. It's akin to saying that MPP is running away from a by-election, let's say in Ashanti region. How is that even possible? So moving forward, I think that we must look at how the end will span out. I'm making this call to our security agencies. They should, as a matter of agency, put the political heads together into a meeting of a sort and ask them to direct their green and blue army to leave Ablekuma now. If those blue and green army don't leave Ablekuma now, the counting will be chaotic.
So
it will be chaotic.
We could see more disturbance.
Exactly. And look, lawyer, we passed the political vigilante law in this country. Have we enforced it? No. So if we are a country who waste resources to pass laws and we don't enforce them, then what is really the need? What is really the need? Because I am surprised that at this age and time, and given our past, Ayawasu and other by-elections, that warranted us to pass the Political Vigilante Act. Politicians or parties who allow one of their own to lead private security tax in the name of army, labeling them green and blue armies. What are we talking about? So it means that both the MPP and the NDC are playing the ostrich. Because if they don't reward some of these things, the young men will not get the appetite to do that. But certainly, in opposition, that is the way he has behaved. Has he not been rewarded? In time past and the MPP, is it not similar things that youth have done and they were rewarded with juicy positions? So are we saying that we have reduced our politics to a field when you are a young man and you can insult, or you can shout the loudest, or you can mobilize political tax? That is how we get rewarded.
But so, Mr. Kutin, I mean, the vibrancy of youth.
Yes.
It has a place in our politics. Being able to rally your troops, as it were, let me use that word, in fact, advisedly. Being able to rally your supporters. I want you to make that distinction for us. Are you saying that there's no place for a Basintali to whip up excitement, let the young people know that this is a party where young people are welcome? Where is that disconnect from whipping up excitement, whipping up your base, to there being a whipping up these supporters for violence?
Not in the manner it is done. When you mobilize macho men, I can tell you that today, a lot of the youth are in the gym training to build muscles, just to join political parties, because if you have the muscles, they will use you, and that is how you get rewarded. I listened to Mustafa Gbande, and you see the statement he made, that you give their followers 1,000 jobs, they still want national security rules. What does that mean? You have given them a particular set of training. What do you think they need that training for? So as a country, you see, Ghana has always been a stable democracy. And in the international arena, we have always been respected for that. But I think within, there are a lot of cracks and mistrust within our system. And the earlier we speak about same, look at how we can remedy same, the better for all of us. Look, democracy is not our thing. We learned it from international best practices. Are we saying in the West, the youth don't have leadership roles? Is that what they do to get there? For the avoidance of doubt, the Canadian Prime Minister, the youngest ever, and he has been there for all this while. Did you see him leading an army, labeling them as the Blue Army, or the MPP's army, labeling them as the Green Army? Even you are lawyers, the Constitution, how can you have army, different armies within the state? So even the coining of the word the Green or Blue Army should raise suspicion. And you know, we are going to Akotia. So if we had to move these people there, is that what we want? So the security, the IGP, I'm still calling upon you. Get on the phone now to the leadership of both the MPP and the NDC and get them to get this tax off Ablekuma North so that the processes can proceed. You see that there's a low voter turnout. It's because of this. And I would not say entirely because of that. There's also another angle to it. I've been there before. Many people are waiting for the last minute. Some trade their votes. They will put themselves in groups. You come and they say, okay, if you want me to go and vote, give me this. People who have voted early are the people who are looking for the change. I'm telling you.
So it's a strategy. The longer you hold out, the fatter your pockets.
Exactly, because when you go and vote and they see the ink here, you don't matter anymore.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Lost.
And you see, it goes to the heart of the nature of our politicking.
Yes.
Yeah. The MP comes, the aspirant comes with so many promises. When he or she wins, you don't see him or her until the next elections. And I think these are things we need to address as a country.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for that. Austin, let me come to you. I see you have some figures, some percentages, and some numbers. I want us to also talk about the journey so far in Ablekuma North. We talked about how well the NPP has done consistently, shall I say, up until this point. Now, in times past, the margins would be in the thousands, 20,000 plus between the NPP and the NDC. Now it's reduced to a few hundred, if you will. When that pre-collation was done yesterday at the EC's headquarters in Accra, the number or the figure that stood between the NDC and the NPP, 48. What do you make then of that decision, by that initial decision of the NPP, as communicated by its General Secretary, to boycott the entire process, and what that has meant in terms of them playing catch-up in the last 48 hours or so?
I think, Ellen, let me be clear that the intermediate steps that the NPP took to prevent the Electoral Commission from rerunning the election, I think it was a good one, just that they didn't succeed.
By intermediate steps, you mean court action?
Going to court to prevent the Electoral Commission from rerunning the election in the 19 polling stations. I think it was a good step in the right direction. But, like Martin said, the thing is that you just don't face your enemy. I mean, I'm just being careful. You just don't face your enemy with all your opponent with all your arsenals. With all your arsenals by your side.
One basket.
You get it.
Right.
So you are going to this rerun with the expectation that you are going to succeed in court. I think that it was so misconceived. How do you expect that you succeed in court when you know that there are two outcomes? You either win or lose. And you see, the decision by the court or the judge, I think it was a good one. The Electoral Commission has a responsibility on that elections. Right. When you look at the Constitution, Article 45, when you look at Article 45C, they have a responsibility to conduct elections. So preventing the Electoral Commission will in a way affect not only the people in Ablekuma North, but it also affect the Commission's work itself. So the judge had to do a balancing act, had to decide whether you stand to suffer more than the Electoral Commission. And the judge realized that no, the Electoral Commission will suffer, or the people of Ablekuma North will suffer more if the Electoral Commission is enchanted than you. But you can have remedy in damages. But you see, Helen, when you did not succeed in court, what do? The next step is to go to the poll, prepare your people, psych them up. That even though we didn't succeed over here, let's go to the polling stations and work. But you see, for a National Executive Committee to have met and taken a decision not to participate in the election, and failing to even involve the candidates in the decision-making process was a major setback for the MPP. Because you see, this is someone, like Otin said, this is someone who has invested huge sums of money, not only money, financially, psychologically. She's prepared for it. Look at the trauma she had to go through. Not only, she's not the only person who has to endure that. Rabina too endured similar fate. But she faced it. You, Justin Kudia, you didn't face it. Yours is to sit in the office and take decisions. So when a decision involves an individual, when you know the person had invested in the process, you must involve her. Let her be part of the decision-making process. But they ignored her, took the decision, and communicated to Ghanaians that we are not participating in the election.
Right.
Now, what that did was to, set the minds of MPP voters, sit their mind down that we are not going to vote.
Some might have even traveled because they thought, well, what's the point of me even going to the polls? My party says that we're not involved.
Exactly. So you see, and it was because the party miscommunicated. I call it miscommunication because you see, you cannot put a message out there when you have not involved the candidate. The candidate said, I'm contesting. You didn't involve her in the decision making. To even, because you see, by involving her, you are just making sure that she now becomes a major part of the decision making body. Then she owns it. You get it? Ownership. Ownership of decision making is important. If you're a political party, MPP is not a private party. And I keep on saying, it's not a private party, and it's not a private property for anybody to feel that if I'm taking a decision, I can take it whether you like it or not. No, it's not a private party. It's a public institution.
Indeed.
So they must have involved the lady. And that is why we are seeing what we are doing. Because you see, like you were intimated. If they had taken the U-turn immediately, they lost the court action. And I'm saying lost reservedly because they didn't lose the court action. They only lost a process.
Okay.
So the case is itself in court, but they wanted the court to enchant the Electoral Commission, which the court said, no, we are not agreeing with you. So that side didn't go well for them. They should have taken immediate step, convene a meeting, tell the people, we are going to Ablekuma North. Let's psych our people up. But you see, like you said, when you look at the numbers, I'm surprised. 2024, it looks like MPP, it looks like heaven is crashing down on MPP. Because you see, Ablekuma North, looking at the data, it's been a major out and out constituency for MPP.
Indeed.
But surprisingly, in 2024, the numbers started reducing and the gap started closing.
In fact, that's an understatement.
So, you see, so Helen, people are saying that after the pre-collation, they had almost 48. I think it's more than 48. Let's not... 40, the difference.
The vote difference.
The vote difference between Irabina and...
This has not been... Austin, this has not been disputed.
So that's what I'm saying, that the thing is that for now, we have almost close to 6,000 votes at stake.
At stake, yes.
Indeed.
And that can tilt the scale.
Absolutely.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I think MPP, just go out there. It's not late. Helen, it's not late. Even though they may have miscommunicated, even though they didn't take immediate steps, I believe this is better late than never. It's not late. They should just go to the polling station, go to the various polling stations, and just include this is not the time to say, I'm sorry for what happened. Because apologizing now will not solve any problem. What will work is action.
You want to see him on the ground?
Yes, he should go. He should go there.
He and Nana B.
He, Nana B, and the major individual, they should go there.
We've seen Dennis Miracles Abuaje on ground.
Dennis is not a national executive.
He's not recognized by the Constitution.
He's a deputy communication director of the party.
He's appointed, not elected.
Elected deputy communication. There he is. Then he is.
No, he's not elected. He's appointed.
Yeah, but
he's a party. He's appointed. So the thing is that, you see, if we want to see Justin Kudia, he is now the face of the MPP because the chairman is indisposed.
It can't be easy for him to go and show his face in Ablekuma.
Because of what happened?
Because of what has happened.
No, he has
then he's putting himself before the party.
He has to show leadership. Because you see, the thing is that National Executive Council or committee made a mistake.
Yeah.
So by going there, you are acknowledging that they made a mistake. But you see, staying in your office does not legitimize what they did. Because you see, this is someone who has invested a lot in the election. You didn't want, but included in the decision-making process. And you expected to listen and obey your decision when it affects her. I think you should go to the field, go and work. Let the people know that you are sorry. Let your actions demonstrate to the people that you are sorry, not organizing a press conference.
He cannot legitimize the party going because he said he appealed to the National Council to rescind their decision and it caught fire. Until that point, MPP members knew they were not going for a run. So Kennedy Ajapon ought to be commended.
So I think now we know Brian Champon supported it.
You mean financially?
Financially, we know Baumia also, understand Baumia also.
Although,
we've seen some distance saying that she never received any money.
Candidate Nana Ekwe Usufri seems to have a different opinion on that. I can't corroborate that at that moment, but
fair enough.
That's what we know.
That is what is being peddled out there. That she received some financial support from this presidential aspirant.
Yes.
Right.
So, but you know what?
But once Miracle Abuaje and Co are the spokesperson for Baumia, they kind of,
That's by extension.
By extension. He's a spokesperson for Baumia.
Let's at Austin line, because I do want to come to Mr. Naziru on the point of the EC, but Austin line for me, please.
So I think no form of apology is needed now.
Yes.
The milk is already spilled.
Yeah.
Let's go to the field. I think, like I said earlier, over 6,000 votes is huge.
6,000 potential votes, because I don't know how many we've had so far because of the fracas we're seeing. Will we even realize half of those votes given the disturbances? We're watching the space.
But Ellen, plus or minus, even if we get 2,000 or 3,000 voting, with the kind of difference that we are hearing, it will change and we will know, with parliamentary elections, it's just first
plus one, plus two.
We've seen a difference of even 3 to propel somebody into parliament.
Someone used 2.
2. Well, there we have it. Let me come to back to Mr. Naziru. In this conversation that we've had so far, we haven't mentioned the Electoral Commission. And we've seen how, again, this issue has traveled. We saw what happened when Bosman Asari, Deputy Commissioner, was on the floor of Parliament, adamant that there was going to be simply no rerun. Some 2 weeks after that, there was that official communique coming from the EC saying, well, now there will be a rerun. How do you think this sort of back and forth from the EC has affected the proceedings up until now?
Well, I mean, even before I come to the substantive question, there is a need for us to, just like my colleague was talking about, the constituency itself, the MPP in the Ablekuma North, and some of the issues that they need to relook into. One of them is the internal wrangling within the constituency, where you would realize that Ekwe came back to take a seat that was taken away from her by Kwame Nabatel's daughter. So that tension is already existing in there. Kwame Nabatel's daughter won the election for them. So if we are able to change you from within, and you lose the seat for us. I mean, that's accounted for the reason she insisted she would even go, even when the party was not ready to support her, because there are issues she needs to address if she intends to come back again subsequently, and that contributed a lot into that. And the flip-flopping position of the MPP in the constituency is something that, I mean, needs to be addressed with immediate effect, in the sense that we may have other by-elections, and if this position, and this is how the MPP would go about things, it is going to affect them big time, and there's no two ways about it. The Electoral Commission, you see, my position about the Electoral Commission still remains same. I will not see the current setup of the Electoral Commission that has denied an entire constituency representation as the best of commission that we have seen since 1992. I cannot fathom how, after the 2020 election, when we've lost about 8 people, and the Electoral Commissioner can boldly look into our face and tell us that it was a free and fair elections. She didn't see anything wrong with it. For me to sit here and say something is right. The position we've held as a political party is now being reinforced by the MPP, because I've listened to them that the decision of the Electoral Commission to go into 19 polling stations was something that they cannot comprehend, and they won't understand. It's part of the reason they went to the court to sort to block the Electoral Commission from carrying out the exercise. This being the situation, I want to believe that, yes, there is the need, because you see, the Electoral Commission plays a very significant role in our electioneering, in our democratic process. Right. Because everything begins and ends with the Electoral Commission, so that we can say the country is truly and indeed democratic. So if we have an Electoral Commission that, I mean, keeps wobbling in its job, it goes to threaten the future of our democracy, and we need to address it. I'm very happy today to hear MPP say they support the NDC position that something should be done to check the, I mean, authority and the role that the Electoral Commission continue to play in our democratic dispensation. So, for me, the Electoral Commission, I still maintain my position. It is not the best. It is not helping our democracy. You see, for us in the NDC, we even thought that, given the reasons the Electoral Commission, came out with, there should be elections in about 51 polling stations. After back and forth, we said, okay, we would agree for about 38 polling stations. Then the Electoral Commission now agreed that, look, we will do only 19 out of all the numbers you have raised. It is not the case that the NDC is pleased with the 19. We think that it should be about 50-something. Some people even think that, look, rerun the entire election, constituency,
right,
which makes a lot of sense.
Let me just stop you in your tracks very quickly. We have to head over to the Methodist Church in Odoko. My colleague Eric Mauna Egbeta is still on the beat. I believe IGP Yohonu has made his way into the Ablekuma North constituency. Let's take a look at exactly what's going on.
So that's the IGP getting into his vehicle after having a brief conversation with the men on duty. I see Reverend Tim Fojo as well. I seen a member of Parliament and a former education minister as well. The IGP came, interacted with a number of the officials here, and then as well the EC officials seeking to understand exactly what it is that played out. We've seen a lot more barricades brought in by the police as well. But the IGP, largely criticized by members of the panel over the handling of some of the incidents witnessed. He's made his way here. He's now making his way out of the Methodist polling station, which has witnessed a lot of the chaos in the constituency, and he's made his way out, and so unfortunately.
All right, well.
But we see Reverend Tim Fojo as well, and Hopefully, maybe he will speak a lot later. But the IGP, following on the back of all of the developments which we've witnessed here in the last few hours, has made his way here and is now on his way. We do not know if he's visiting other polling stations, but he as well has made his way here. And I mentioned we see Reverend Tim Fojo. It will be interesting to hear what he makes of the police's handling. Remember, he's a ranking on the Defense and Interior Committee, and so it will be interesting to get quick reactions from him as well. Just quickly, Rev, thank you very much for speaking to us.
What were you saying to him in that engagement, or what did he say to you?
No, so far the IGP and his men are going around to ensure that we have peaceful election. But all I'll say is that Ghana is all we have. It is so important that we make it a peaceful country, as we all know it, as we're all born into it. Democracy is one that must be an expression of opinion by voting to determine your decision. It shouldn't degenerate into the kind of violence we have seen happen today. We must condemn it in every word that we can find to condemn. And so what I'm saying is that, look, Ghana is all we have. Democracy is all we have. Let us continue to, particularly the key actors in our democracy, continue to make voting day a very peaceful day that everybody will look up to. It shouldn't be full of rancor, full of violence, retribution, reprisal. It is going to destroy the gains we have made in our democracy, and it's not good for the reputation Ghana has. We need to move beyond violence that is associated with on election day.
Concerned that this violence broke out. We heard the defense minister say there was no need for the military to show up here. Based on all that you've seen, do you think it was the right?
No, we will have a full discussion on the assessment on security issues. But all that I'm saying is that for now, voting must proceed. We must encourage our people to vote, express their opinion. A verdict that was already known, a widow who has been robbed of her right to be declared, and a rerun has been occasioned. Nonetheless, we are on it, and we have some few hours to go. We're encouraging everyone to just go peacefully to their police station within the 19 and vote. When we are done, we'll have a very considered opinion on how everything went that we'll express.
This is not the only place.
That peace is what we need in this country.
This is not the only place we've seen these pockets of violence. What will be your general assessment of the security handling as we've seen deployed thus far?
My considered opinion, but I'm saying that we need to have the election done with within the next few hours. Let's encourage people who have not voted yet to come out and vote. And let's continue. We had discussions, we had assurances that all the things are going to be put in place for peace to prevail.
Thank you. That's Reverend Tim Fojo as well, speaking just briefly as well in relation to his meeting with the Inspector General of Police. And so the IGP's been here, as he said, has provided a number of assurances to media, to him. That's Reverend Tim Fojo, who's a ranking on the Defense and Interior Committee as well. And the expectation is that there'll be a lot more peace going into the end of the polls, which is expected 5 p.m. We're still some 2 hours 52 to the close of that poll, and so it continues to be one that we'll monitor for you, but it continues to be peaceful here, and we'll continue to monitor across the 19 polling stations. And then back to you, Helen.
Thank you so much for that much needed update. And Mawina Eric Egbeta is stationed in Odoko, specifically at the Methodist Church in the Ablekuma North constituency. We know that there have been some disturbances in that area. IGP Christian Yohonu has been in the area, will of course be following on exactly what is happening in the area. But back in studio, the conversation continues. But let me also say the YouTube army, the Facebook army, very much awake. A number of your comments coming through. And Emmanuel, a lot of people reacting to your critique of Malik Basintali. They say that we need that youthful energy across the various parties to encourage the youth to be part of our democratic process. Let me read out some of your messages. We'll come back in studio and then we will talk some more. Abubakar Al-Hassan says, is Ghana making progress democratically? Question mark there. Prince Kofi Bredu says the Basintali army is a humble one. All right, more of your messages. Charles Thompson says democracy seems not to be a cup of tea for Africans. Some more as well coming through here.
Nancy, me trying to taste it. Taste it all. The new seasoning powders about chicken, stew, jollof, shrimp, beef. New aroma. Let money taste.
Is looking or could lose that particular seat, and that is a strategy why they decided to boycott the elections. That was the earlier decision that they had put forth. Mutaru Tijani says, Malik Basintali is an intelligent man. He has carried himself accordingly and should not be accused without justifying said wrongs. Akwesi P. Lai says, our political space has been reduced to death whilst these political heads' children are schooling and they are living in peace. Okay, Bernard Bennington says, we only started seeing the blue army of the NPP just yesterday. Okay, you say that they're playing catch-up, given the fact that it took the parliamentary candidate to throw her hat back into the ring after the party had decided not to do so. Genuine Aho says, I agree with this man. I believe they're speaking about Mr. Kutin. He says that Basintali has not insulted anybody. He's just helping with the campaign. Also, you asking, I see a number of you asking about the weaponry that has been alleged to have been used in some of the fracas, and you say, where is the video evidence or the footage showing some of these alleged weapons? All right, let's come back in studio, and I believe, Mr. Naziru, you were landing on a point before I cut in. Let's hear you.
Just correct this misconception.
All right.
Very important.
Certainly.
You see, as a security practitioner, guided by our constitution, you cannot have an army within the state army. I have not said Basintali have gone to insult anybody. I'm saying that given that he's now a public official, it's wrong for him to lead this kind of macho men in the name of Green Army and the MPP Blue Army. Even the political vigilante laws that we just passed some few years ago, it prohibits him. So you cannot be a public official and leading a lawless group calling them an army. Okay, then I must as well form my own pepper army like you suggested. And everybody goes to form an army. Look at the kind of things
you only very briefly. We're using this terminology army loosely to connote this group of people. I mean, when we say army, it could also be interchanged with group. It's just to, give you that sort of optics, if you see where I'm going with this, but not army in the sense that they've set up an independent army. It's a blue army, a blue green army, but a blue group or a green group.
Anytime you put these macho men together, you have no control over them. Some are armed, you may not even be aware. So in the process, if there's some misunderstanding like we saw the tax assaulting Howard Kumsen, who is to be blamed? And I'm happy that the IGP saw a video and acted quickly by interdicting the official. We have videos that show the ballot boxes being bent. Is that not it? Yes. Why I don't know acting on it? We have videos that we have seen on TV here showing tax assaulting Howard. It doesn't matter what Howard has done. You understand? They should have allowed the security agencies to do what they are mandated to do there, not to take the law into their own hands, especially given Howard is a woman. You understand? We expect that these processes all should be expedited to give some form of equity. You understand? We cannot pick and choose. And you made a very fundamental point here. Just last week, our president called for the IGP to investigate the past electoral violence.
Indeed.
This is one before us. So the question we ask ourselves is that, should the IGP even wait for the president to direct him? You remember when Dampari was there? The president invited him to the presidency and directed him to do the same. Has any investigation even come out? Most of us criticize the then IGP that if you have to wait for the president to direct you to do what you are supposed to do, then we are infusing politics into our national security architecture. So I'm a youth. I'm pleading with my fellow youth. Look, the bidding we are doing, these are older men. How many years have they got to live? And they are even sorted. It is our future we are, putting in danger. So we should be moderate in the kind of things we do and eschew violence. My point here is about we eschewing violence and don't allow the politicians to use us for their personal gain.
Emmanuel, point well made. Mr. Naziru, over to you.
Sure. I mean, we need to understand I think if he has reservation with the use of the word army, I mean, that reservation is there. I mean, he's entitled to it. However, when the NDC talks about the Green Army, we are talking about an amalgamation of youth organizers and various youth wing organizations under the umbrella. That is what have come together to form the army. I mean, it is the making of our youth organizer who is today the Minister of Youth and Sports or something. No, Minister of Youth Development, Paris. So, I mean, that is how they put them together. And so far, since they emerged up until today, we've not had single incident where we can say that these people were involved in any act of violence or something that is untoward towards our democracy. So we need to define clearly what we mean when we talk about the Green Army. It is not, maybe they might come and some of them will appear well built in their bodies, but they are not just amalgamation of macho men, but youth organizers and youth wing organizations under I mean different security attack as in military. Yes. They are wearing military attire.
When you showed them, the reporter even confirmed that some of them were in self-styled military kind of attack.
You see, the individuals who are facing off against our security personnel and policemen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
You see, so, I mean, that's the point. Let's get that point clearly. Now, to round up on the issue of the Electoral Commission,
right.
For me today, if we want to enhance our democracy, yes, indeed, we should do something about our Electoral Commission and ensure that the Electoral Commission take its rightful place and play the role of referee, just so all the political actors and players would have belief and confidence in the Electoral Commission to continue to move the country towards achieving its objective of becoming the beacon of democracy on the continent. If that is to be achieved, I think a lot needs to be done with our Electoral Commission. The positioning, you know, the mindset, some of their utterances has not helped at all in our democracy. It goes again to surprise me a lot, listening to Reverend Ntimfojo talk about democracy being the beacon and the hope, the fulcrum around which the country should revolve. A very good message. But then I begin to ask questions. Did he know this when in 1992 we were looking for people to formulate, what do you call it, a constitution to guard that democracy, and most of them then lawyers with the Ghana Bar Association boycotted that action? Did you know that when in 1992, going to 1993, the first Parliament of Ghana, the MPP decided not to give the people of Ghana representation. The MPP decided not to challenge the party in power by boycotting it because they've lost election. Did they know that democracy? And democracy in itself means, like my brother earlier on said, you can win or lose. There is no middle playing ground. So that if you lose and you are a Democrat, that is where you go back home organize yourself, come back because you still believe you have ideas, you have ways that can help Ghana achieve its objective in a very short time. And for that matter, you continue to participate in our democratic dispensation. So most of the things that the MPP did some time back up until 2024 is now coming back to haunt them, and it will haunt them forever.
Mr. Naziru, thank you so much for that. Of course, the countdown is on now, some 2 hours and 40 minutes left until the 19 polling centers are closed and then collation can begin. Dr. Norman, I also want to bring you into the conversation concerning the Electoral Commission. What role would you say that they have played in what we are seeing now on D-Day?
Lawyer Jantua said something very important, that now that we are putting together recommendations for constitutional amendment, that position should also be there, the kind of electoral commissioner or commission that we want to have and going forward in the future. I think, like what everyone has said, their communication hasn't helped the process at all. I don't want to see the blame being placed on Madame Jane Mensah, simply because as a woman, I am a strong supporter of gender equity. And sometimes people do not believe that when a woman is in a position of authority, she didn't get there because of meritocracy. She got there because of her gender attribution, sex.
Right.
Okay, being male or female. And for me, I think the expectations from Jane has been very high, well over and above her skill set. Because having not been an electoral commissioner before, just being a lawyer doesn't give her all the skills she needed to be able to run this. And when she came, I think she wasn't listening to good advice. Surrounded herself with people who were equally not experienced in the area. I don't even know how many times she consulted Dr. Farijan. So with that kind of dossier of experience, he should have been at least a member of that board to help Jane to do a good job. So the result that her stewardship had created seems to suggest that she's not fit for purpose. And I will be saddened if she is removed. Not because I don't know her. I don't have any relationship with her. But representing gender in this country in a very powerful position, I expected her to be a bit more humble, a bit more approachable, and available to new ideas so that she can do her job well. So far, she has performed on a scale of 1 to 10. Her performance is around 4.
You would score her a 4 out of 10?
Yes.
Given what you have seen so far over the period?
Over the period.
I'm
not impressed at all. If NDC hadn't campaigned so well, determined to win, fair, and the people having supported NDC, this election would have been chaotic.
Yeah.
You mean the just ended 2024 election?
Yes, it would have been totally chaotic. It was the overwhelming victory of NDC that seems to have made her a bit of a heroine in the victory of NDC. But her performance, the way the polling stations were protected, ballot papers going up and down, pink sheets getting lost, polling station being burnt, she didn't do a good job at all.
But Dr. Norman, a lot of this seems to be put on the doorsteps of the Electoral Commission. We talk about there being a burning of the papers and so on and so forth. I mean, does some of that blame not go to our security personnel, the police, when it comes to ensuring that our ballots are safe? Why does it seem as though, we talk even about Ayawa, so it's always the EC alone that we seem to be fingering in this issue? Where then does the police come in instances like this?
the buck stops with the EC. Afarijan ran a number of campaigns. We didn't see this kind of thing going on. The buck stops with the EC. In election, you are the captain of the ship. And if you don't direct the people helping you to execute your mandate, the buck stops with you.
And she was the national returning officer.
Yeah, for the presidential election.
So you say you put the blame squarely on her doorstep. But
squarely on the Electoral Commission, not because she's a woman, but on the Electoral Commissioner.
now let's talk about the NPP's, I was going to say seeming U-turn, but it's a U-turn. Now they agree with the NDC that this EC, they say, is not fit for purpose. What does that suggest to you? Because in times past, and I followed all throughout the conversations, the NPP said, well, the EC is doing a good job. We see nothing wrong with what is happening. Issues, seem to have abounded, but the NPP, from their standpoint, said the EC is doing a great job. Fast forward to 2025, and the tables have turned.
My dear Helen, when the NPP were winning left and right, whether they stole the election or not, of course the EC was doing a good job. But right now, I have a problem listening to anything MPP says with credibility. You said you were not going to run. That cannot be a strategy. That is an ambiguation of the party's policy. They have no plan. They didn't have a plan as to how to approach this situation. The confusion that they exhibited for Honorable Kennedy Japan to come out to say, support the lady, go and participate. Now, this is a man who is very careful about criticizing, doing anything in support of NDC. For him to say, let's do it right.
Wait, you're referring to Kennedy Japan?
Yes, Kennedy Japan. But he's actually come out to say fairly good things about the current government in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm quite surprised. So when he says, let's go, in the interest of democracy, let's go and do this election, in spite of your feelings. And as Lawyer Kwabena was saying, what they did was horrible. And for me, they have lost credibility. If I started with MPP credibility of 100%, today is less than 30%. Whatever they say, when they say look right, I look left. Because I don't trust them anymore.
Well, that's very dangerous, because we all are said here that every country needs a strong opposition.
We do.
To keep government on its toes.
But you have to be consistent. Consistency builds trust. And if you are not consistent and you are waffling like a little boy, saying this today, saying that tomorrow, who will trust you anymore?
And that is why the MPP says, well, they're going to go and elect a flag bearer, and then everybody will then rally behind said flag bearer.
It won't change
and
anything.
That should hopefully provide that figurehead for everybody to support.
That's the most dangerous thing
it won't
to do
change
politically.
anything.
Let me tell you, it's the most dangerous thing to do politically.
Mohammed, why do you say so?
I say so. Look, you forget about the fact that
I think Mohammed will be the wrong person
I am even the best person because I'm the only active political player in this.
The suggestion is that, Mohammed, what has it got to do with you, what your opponents are going through?
Because I am concerned with the fact that the country needs to have a viable opposition.
Wow.
Be it when we are in government or they are in government.
So that they can put in
because
check.
that is what, if put together, will give us a good democracy.
You're willing to be kept on your toes?
Of course.
Certainly, why not? I'm a Democrat. There is the need for us to be kept on our toes so that we don't end up doing what MPP did for them to be suffering it today. There is a need for that. But what I am saying is
I just said something in the interest of democracy. Your people are lambasting. So
well,
you see
maybe the way you put it, because it sought to create the impression that Basitale is a violent person.
No.
To create that impression. Maybe that's why they are reaction. But you see, my point is that if you are practicing real democracy, every delegate has its mandate for 4 years. So how then do you use one delegate to elect two presidential candidates? before you can make decision on him. How do we do that? What is the intention? What do they intend to solve? Has someone, explicitly explained to the good people of Ghana what they want to achieve by that, except the general feeling that, look, it is one of the attempts by a political party to skew the activities of their party towards a particular individual. Apart from that, what else is there? It is the most dangerous thing to do. And if they go ahead with that, I am telling you, that will be the beginning of the end of a political party called MPP.
Let me pick the thoughts of counsel in the studio. What is it going to take then to get the new patriotic party back on its feet? A lot has been said about this pending flag bearership race, whether or not the party should have opted to go from the bottom up, top to bottom. This idea that if you have a central figurehead, it will quell some of the tensions that exist. Weigh in on that for me as well.
Yeah. Before I attempt answer to this question, let me react to the bit about the Electoral Commission, the performance. Of the Electoral Commission, and whether I think the performance of the commission has been abysmal, been very worse. This is the worst.
Out of 10, what is your score, Austin?
Doc was charitable. Doc was charitable. He went for 4.
You give one.
I would have gone for 2. No, you see, the thing is that this is a constitutional.
You have been vindicated.
No. That's why I said Doc was charitable. Because this is a constitutional body.
Yes. Right.
That is taxed to protect our democracy. This is an important institution. And you see, sometimes I get surprised when the commissioners behave as if they can do whatever they like. Yeah. Because you see, Ghana is a delicate country. And we are surrounded by countries that are facing one attack. And other people are also being.
We are the only country who have not been attacked.
That appears to be responsible.
In terms of violent extremism.
Talk about what we see in the Sahel, what we see in our part of Africa.
So I'll say we are the only country that appears to be a little responsible.
Or stable.
A little. No, a little responsible. Because you see, I'm using the word responsible because you see, the actions and the utterances of our political actors can tilt the scale tomorrow.
Easily. Oh, certainly.
Easily. That's what I'm saying. We are little responsible. So you see, when you monitor the political actors, sometimes when they are going overboard and you draw their attention, then they witness rude awakening. Let's calm down. Sure. You see, depending on who is in power and who is in opposition, they will be speaking different languages. NPP was in power. They were untouchable. NPP felt the whole country belonged to them. And they could do anything just by calling whoever they want to call. But today, NPP is now singing the songs of NDC when NDC was in opposition. But by and large, Ellen, I think the commission has been worse, and this is the worst electoral commission that we've ever had. But I'm a Democrat. And I believe that I'm a Democrat, and I believe that even though the commission has not been the best, I think I do not support any call for the commission members to be removed or the commissioners to be removed.
Even after what you say is an abysmal performance.
Yes, Ellen. You see, the thing is that you can't address a problem by dismissing people. The commission to address. So let's single out those issues and get the commission to work on them. Because you see, what we are trying to do is that it will be disastrous for us. Because you see, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to say that anytime a constitutional body witness a misstep or maybe they undertake and they carry out exercise which is not in the
right,
we will remove them. It's a trajectory I don't want us. It's a path I don't want us to take. Because you see, trying to justify the fact that the commission should be removed based on the fact that they didn't perform is not a sound argument for me. let's not hide behind the abysmal performance of the Electoral Commission to call for their heads. I'm not in support of that. I think whether or not they are fit for purpose, I think we have a lot to do. And like Doc and other panelists have already said, we have a fine opportunity. The Constitutional Review Committee is still working. We can get some few works underway. We can get a lot done, loose ends. But the commissioners should be maintained. I am against any attempt by anybody. MPP may do a U-turn on their own position, and that is their own problem. But for me, my position is that the commissioners should be maintained. Let us not hide behind what has happened and justify any attempt by the National Democratic Congress to sack J. Mensah and their deputies. That is not a sound argument. To say that because they didn't perform, because of the miscommunication or the worst handling of the Ablekuma North election or the entire 2024 election, by reason of that, the commissioners should go. I'm opposed to that. Let's identify the issues, tighten work out a solution. Because you see, I'm saying that if we justify this and if we want to sack the electoral commissioners by saying that they didn't perform better or they've not been at par, tomorrow when we have a new commission and they are also not performing well, what do we do? Are we saying we are going to recreate the whole scene to be sacking people when they are not performing?
I think that if the system is not good, we have to reset.
What is the system?
Let me put it this way. In the last election, I think God saved this country. If there was not an overwhelming majority in terms of the turnout or the voter results, and the elections were that close, like in the 2020 elections, I tell you, this country would have been in flames. Because of the posture of the electoral commissioners before the elections. Look, the bizarre issue of the birth setting, it didn't sit well with anybody. You can see that that was clearly politically motivated.
But that's a decision.
Secondly, you see, I want to be charitable with them here. I want you put the SAL squarely on them. I think the SAL was partly a government issue. The local government who created that thing were not ready to do certain things.
Right.
Where I thought J. Mensah fell short was when she was invited to appear before Parliament and she refused to go. Can you imagine an electoral commissioner invited by the People's Assembly and she can refuse to attend and nothing happens to her? The second thing is that my good friend and brother, Dr. Norman, when he talked about the gender advocacy, I'm part of that. Look, was Charlotte Osei a man? Look at the role J. Mensah played at IE when Charlotte Osei was the electoral commissioner. On what basis could the government have brought such a person as the electoral commissioner of this country? So to me, I agree partly with you. We need a reset. The reset is not maintaining them. The reset is government doing the right things. And what are the right things? Get an independent-minded person, a professionally minded person, someone who is not politically exposed to mount the commission. It is good for our democracy. It safeguards to our democracy. Look, on this table, unanimously, all of us agree that they have not performed. So if you have commissioners who are not performing, what do you need to do? They are not the only Ghanaians. You remove them. And removing them,
I'm opposed to.
Which you are opposed to.
Yes.
But as a Democrat, I believe that the right processes should be triggered. And it shouldn't be the case that it's a political vendetta because Charlotte Osei was removed. They are also removing her to bring somebody. Look,
it's playing out.
You see that most of the commission